Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you are here, and this is the part 2 of the previous tutorial that I did. If you are yet to see that tutorial, make sure you check the link in the description or check somewhere here. It's popping out somewhere. I really don't know, but just check. You'll be able to click on that and then watch the previous video so you can really follow along, right? So without taking so much of your time, let's go. But before I go, have you subscribed? Come on, what are you waiting for? What I would like to have is to have this, back, like a rim light that is, giving this earth some contrast. So I don't think I'm doing justice to my explanation, but let me quickly show you. So I'll take this earth right now. Let's go to the main composition, and I'll just duplicate this, and I'm just going to name it earth. Let me just call it rim light, right? It might not be that's what it is, but that's what I'm going to name it. And I'm just going to duplicate this. I'll take the one under and I'm just going to replace it here. So now they're now the same thing, but now I'll now go to the one of the rim light. So what I really need to do this time around, I don't need the earth anymore, right? I just need this. I just need to develop this. So I'll just take this highlight and I'll just increase the stroke width a lot, let's say to about 500, and then I'll go to the blurriness that I have here already, and I'm just going to increase this to about, let's say, 130. So we have this going on here, and that's it pretty much. I'll go back to the main, so there's no difference here. So what I would like to do is to add glow. You can add normal glow to this, let me just show you how you can add normal glow to this, and then increase the radius quite a bunch, right? And if you think that's not enough, you can duplicate it, right? And then just reduce the threshold of this. Now come to think of it, I think one glow is just fine. So let me delete this glow too. I think this enough is good, but I'm a sucker for deep glow, so I'm just going to delete this. If you don't have deep glow, so that's glow, we just use normal glow, so I'm just going to use deep glow, right? And you can see the difference. I'm just going to reduce this to about, let's say, 0.5, right? And then reduce the value of the radius to about 200, and then we have this. So I can reduce the opacity now to about, let's say, 80%. You can see we have that. I think I should just reduce some more. Let's do 70. So we have this backlight thing going on here. I think it's still kind of strong. Let's do 60. I think I'm pretty satisfied with that. So that's the first thing we are going to do. So the next thing I like to do is to actually introduce, to bring in some particles into this, and I'm going to use a plugin for this, Trapcode Particular. So let me just close all of this, and let me close this. I'll just right click, create a new solid. Let me just make this white so I can easily differentiate it, and just name this particle, and I'm just going to click OK. So I add particles to this. I add particular rather to this. So after adding that to it, you can see it here. Let me just solo it so you can see this clearly. So this is what the particle is doing. You can see that it's emitting automatically. So right now we'll go to the design, and then this is what we're going to have. So I'm just going to adjust this a little bit like this. So by default, this is what we're going to see. We're actually going to use a preset and develop that from there. So I'm just going to go to the presets, and the preset I'm going to be using, so we have different presets. Let me just show you guys different cool presets here we can actually work with, right? But I'm actually going to go with the dust and debris preset, and I'm actually going to choose moon dust. I'll select that, and I would now have to adjust the settings. So from the emitter, I think the emitter is okay. Maybe I can reduce the particle per seconds a little bit, not so I don't want it to be so much. Let's do 25. Let's see how that looks like. If you're not satisfied with that, we can always come and adjust it. And then I think every other thing here is fine. I'll go to the motion, and I think I don't want to mess with anything here, so I'll go to particle type. So I'll adjust this to about, let's say, 25. I'll increase the mass to about 0.1. Okay, so right now you can see that it's just showing, it's not really moving down as such. I'll reduce the size to about 2 because I don't want it to be too big. So we change the air resistance to about 25, the mass to 0.1, and I think I like the result that we have here already. I think we can work with this. Let me go to the sizes. Let's see if we can change the presets, right, to really, yeah, I think I like this, but I think I will want them to stay a little bit longer. So let me go back to the particle and live per second. Let me increase that to, let's say, about 5. Let's see. Yeah, I think I prefer this. Yeah, I think I prefer this. So I'm going to click on apply. So by default, you can see it. Remember that we have camera in this scene, so that's why it's actually going to be moving backward, right? And that's actually going to set the depth. So let me just uncheck this now. Let me move this underneath the camera, and if I just click and drag, right, you might not be able to notice it, but you can see these details here, right? And it just gives some kind of depth into, you know, what we are doing here, right? Which is cool. So we are done with the particles. So the next I also like to introduce into the scene is optical flares. That's a video copilot plugin as well. So I'll leave the link in the description for you to get all these plugins where you can get them. Go to new solid, and I'll call this optical flares. This is a really good plugin. Let me just change the color to something like this. Click OK. I'll click on this, then apply optical flares, and I have this option. So as you can see, we have this really nice flare thing going on here. I'll change it. I'll go to the render mode. I'll put it on transparent, and I can actually just move it to the side like this. And even with the default, I think it really looks good, right? But I'll actually go to the options, and from the options I can actually go and check presets. So I'll go to preset forward, I'll go to light, and then I'll look for one that best suited for my need. I think I'll just go with this particular one here, very similar to what we saw in the first place. So I'll click on this, and every other thing is fine, and I'll click OK. As you can see, we have this glare thing going on here. So, you know, I can move this by just doing this. This is the positioning. Let's just move it to the side, and of course, if it's playing, it's not going to be moving along. So we need to come to the option here and make sure the source type is 3D. You can see that if I move it now, as the camera is moving, it's also going to be moving as well into the scene, which is really interesting. So I'll take it to the end, and I'll just drag this back towards here. Maybe something like this would do. This would do. Now you can see that I have some column bendings here, and the reason is because we are working with 8-bit the color information here. So what I will need to do is to hold down Alt and click on this until you get to 16 bits, and I think it should look better. It's looking way better now. So I can reduce the brightness of the optical flares. So let me just reduce the brightness a little bit, right, so it's not be too strong, right? I think this is, I think I like this. I think this is working well, right? So let me just close this, and I think the last thing I like to do is to create my, maybe not the last thing, is to have my text. I would go to the text here, then I'm just going to put this planet, then I'll duplicate this, I'll do Earth. Maybe I'll just leave this, so I don't have to do exactly what I did in the example. So I can just do something like this. I think I'm liking this one way better. So what I need to do now for this text, let me just solo them. Right, I'm going to use a text preset, the code fading. So the code fading text preset. If I press U, you can see this is what I have, which is really cool. So I'm just going to drag this to about, let's do 1 second, right? And highlight, easy ease, go to the graph editor. So if I play this now, I have that, which is really cool. So what I need to do is to just open this up, copy the animator on this, Ctrl C, and then paste it on the other one, and then I'll just offset it a little bit. So all right, great. So I think that works great for me. All I really need to do is to just make this 3D now, and then I might have to adjust them accordingly. So, and then I'll have to move them backward so they will appear where I would really want them to. Yeah, something like this would do. So let me activate all of this now. I like to take everything below my camera So it's just personal preference. So I think this is really looking good. So let's just do let's have some final touches to this by adding color correction and all. So I'll right click, go to new adjustment layer. I'll do CC, which is for color correction, then add curves to this. Right, I can just add this, darken a little bit more, then punch up the brightness so we have more contrast. Right, then I'll go to the blue channel, and then I can just punch it here, then drag up the shadows up tiny bit. Right, so we have more of like a blue tint shadow, like to sell the whole space look really well. And then I'll add one more adjustment layer, new adjustment layer. I'll name this sharpen. You can see some details are actually looking very blurry now, so I'm gonna add sharpen to this. You can use on sharp mask, anyone is fine, but I'm going to use sharpen. I'm just going to increase the sharpen to about 50. Right, so you can see we have more details on the earth, which is really interesting. So I'll just drag this down below my color correction and believe we are actually done. So let me just take this down for the beginning and play for you. All right, so here we are. Right, really cool stuff. So you can actually use this for maybe title sequence and things like that. And if you're interested in the fonts that I'm using, this is a Space Explorer. Right, that's the name of the font, just in case you are interested in knowing about that. All right, I think we are done with this tutorial. Please, if you are new to my channel, make sure you do subscribe to have cool content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So finally closing on this, I really hope you've learned. Please let me know in the comment section if you've really learned a lot about this particular saying that I created, and it's really encouraging for me to know that people are really learning, or they are actually asking questions concerning what I just created, and it will be fun. I'll be happy to respond and all of that. Anyways, that's the end of the tutorial. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like it. If you are new to my channel, make sure you do subscribe. All right, till the next video, see ya.